as our working background image, and we need to just drop some new text onto it. So there's a few ways to get this into Photoshop. You can drag it into Photoshop, or you can drag it directly onto here. So let's do that. I'm just going to drag it here and drop it. Okay, and it opens it up with this X kind of going through it. That just means it's opening it as a smart preview. Before you just grab a corner and start dragging like this, you want to make sure you're holding Shift. So Shift and then click the corner and drag is going to basically stretch your image proportionately. So I'll go down to the bottom arrow, holding Shift, and drag. Okay, that's one way to do it. I haven't clicked yet on it, but if I wanted the entire thing to expand proportionately, I can also hold Option Shift, click, and now you can see all the sides are adjusting. This is like a quick way to just get in here and move it around. That's good. So let's just say I like what I'm seeing here. I don't want to resize it. Go ahead and hit Enter, and it will flatten it. It's still going to be as a smart preview, which means if I were to adjust it this small, double click, and then readjust it to this size, double click, it's still going to maintain the quality of the image, which is going to be different if I had an image that didn't have the X through it. So if this was just a rasterized flat image and it didn't have that smart preview looking thing on it, then what happens is if you if you go like this, double click, and then expand, double click, I've just completely lost the quality of that image because it compresses it once you resize it, and that's it. So you always want to get it right where you need it to be, especially if it's a rasterized layer. If it's smart, then you're okay to resize it. So here's what it looks like with the smart, and then here's without it. So obviously we're going to delete that. So try to keep them as smart previews if you can. And if you do that feature, just dragging it directly onto the layer itself, you'll get that. Another way is you can hold the image and drag it, and if you have your keyboard shortcuts, you can go to Mission Control, bring it in here, bring it in here. You can bring it into wherever you need to and just let go right on the canvas. Okay? Alright, so now that the image is on our canvas, we have it in the right section. So we want to make sure if it lands here to go ahead and bring it below that black section. We can delete the other image because we're not working with it anymore. So I just did that by highlighting it, clicking on the layer, and then clicking the delete button. You can also drag it to the little trash can there, but delete is quicker. Alright, let's see, let's do a quick save. So I'll hit Command S, and that will make sure that the file is updated, right? Okay, it's looking good. Back to our platform. Okay, so before we start playing with the black layer, let's edit the title. So the title is set up right in the center. You don't want to move this. I wouldn't adjust the font size. I wouldn't do anything. So just to verify, it's helpful to show your grids. So a quick way of doing that is Command:. These identify the little lines. They're the rulers, the grid lines that are just making sure, hey, is my is my text down the center, and I've set these up to where they're right where I need them to be. So I can hide them. They're looking fine. Now we just need to adjust our text. So go ahead and click here on this letter T. This is going to be the type tool, and then we'll click on the text. First, making sure obviously that our layer is highlighted. Click the text, and then we can start creating a new promo. So I'll just say new class promo, and that's it. And so I'll hit, well, we don't want to hit enter, but we want to click off of the layer. So you can click a new tool, or you can just click off of the layer, and it will release the text, and now you have all the proper text. So let's talk about text real quick. The text that I'm using, the font that I'm using, may need to be pre-installed. If it's not installed on your computer, it's going to look much different. So I'm working with Gotham HTF to actually view your font. You'll see it here at the top if you highlight it. So if you click the tool, the text tool button, and then highlight over your text, you'll see the button changes. Go ahead and hit Command A, highlight your text, and then you'll verify up here, okay, Gotham HTF, right? And then it should be bold, right? So this is the font, and this is the font family, and I have bold set for this client. And then the font size is about 43 points, yeah, right here. Sharp is just preset for style. I have it centered, right? So keeping it centered. And then let's check here. So if you pull up the window that it's like paragraphs or somewhere in there. I think this is it. Yeah, it's the character window. If you don't have it open, you can find it in here and it will open up. So this is just displaying more details about the font. The spacing is another thing to note. I have this spaced at 300. If I were to kind of hover over this section just to the left and adjust it down, you'll see the font sort of getting tighter and then wider. So just make sure that's set to 300 and hit enter. This again should all be preset. If you're opening the Photoshop file, it should all be done for you. You don't need to know really anything else. So new class promo, got my text, I have my new layer, and now let's just play with this black layer. This is just to darken things up a little bit. It's at 40%, so just click this layer, and then you can hit on the keyboard, you could hit 1, and you'll notice it goes to 10%. I'll hit 4, it'll go to 40, I'll hit 8, and it goes to 80. So try to keep it, I think, in the range of like 20 to 30. I think 30 is good. 30 looks good. You want it to match sort of the rest of the images on your website. So I think if you're under 40 or so, depending on how bright the image is, that text should pop and it should work fine consistently. If your text runs over, if you end up having like more copy, I would really just try to do less, because try to get it to fit. You don't want to go to 2 lines, because 2 lines you start losing the point of keeping this simple. So keep that as a rule and a boundary to stay within, and it'll force you to come up with clever phrases that are going to be better call to actions and more designer friendly because it's going to all fit. So I'll keep this at new class promo. And I'll make it simple. I'll just say new class. Cool. Okay, this is good. So I'm going to hit save, Command S, just to save it out one more time. And now I need to create my actual JPEG file. So if you have an action, use your action. If you want to do it the slow way, go to File, Save for Web, or Command Option Shift S. And it should keep saving your presets. Like if you have a preset that you always like to save, you can create one here, but I'm always just saving the same files out, so have all of the same settings as before, 995 in the width, hit save, and I'll save this to the desktop, and keep this all lowercase. I'll do new class. Remember, we want to use SEO friendly words, lowercase, no crazy symbols, and be thoughtful of the keywords you use because this is going to be helpful for search engines. And then I'll hit save or enter. Check out the desktop. Oh, here it is. It's up here. There it is. And we're done. Created our first banner.